Okay, some of the craziest stories I've maybe ever read have been coming out about Iran and this attempt to kill former President Donald Trump. I want to go through that. I want to go through some information coming out of the Navy SEAL um, retired community saying the United States is in big trouble. To help me do that, I have retired Colonel John Mills with me. Colonel Mills, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thank you, Stephen. Always an honor to be on your show.
So I've been reading how there are supposedly multiple assassin teams in the United States trying to get Donald Trump. I've had people on the show say, yes, this is true. Yes, this is a threat. I've had people also say, if they know this, why haven't they arrested them? I'm now reading that there is information about multiple land to air missiles smuggled into the United States in order to get Donald Trump while flying on Trump Force One. And then just in the last day or two, former President Donald Trump himself openly wrote on Truth Social about Iran targeting him, how he must be protected, and how damaging this would be for the country. What can you tell me about this story? I'm just trying to understand. It feels big, and I'm guessing maybe it comes from him taking out General Soleimani. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Oh, yeah. Well, the Soleimani thing, that was a devastating strike to the corrupt and evil Iranian regime and the IRGC element of that regime, which is a listed terrorist group. The going after Soleimani was a model of America first, how we're going to use military force. We're going to get the situation straight and correct. We're going to project military force, take care of the mission, and then return home. It was an incredible mission. Soleimani was a very, very, very bad person. He needed to be done away with. He killed a lot of Americans. So that it traces to that. The FBI, remember, right after the Butler shooting, put out there is an active Iranian effort underway. And remember, not to make this a history dissertation or master's course, the IRGC and current Iranian intelligence essentially traces its heritage to Savak, the Shah's CIA. And they had a strong footprint inside of America. They killed Iranian exiles during the 70s. Remember, they went after the captain of the USS Vincennes, tried to blow up him and his wife in San Diego after the Vincennes shot down an Iranian airliner accidentally, which decided to fly over an active combat zone where the Vincennes was engaged in a huge gun battle. Bad things happen when you fly over a Navy ship like that. And so this is absolutely plausible. The SA-14, SA-16, those are the man-portable surface-to-air missiles. Yeah, you bet this is a real issue. Very plausible, very realistic. And I'm also aware of some countermeasures that are being taken care of on this very specific situation. I'm not going to go into any detail. This is an active threat. We have a national security community that is corrupt and distracted. This should be job one for the entire intelligence community, not going after parents at school board meetings. We have an open border, which has been created by the Obama-Harris team, Obama-Biden-Harris team. We have no control over what's going there. We have very little visibility on transparency inside of Mexico. Everybody thinks, oh, we have CIA everywhere. We know everything that's going on in Mexico. No, we don't. We have no idea what's going on inside of Mexico. And bad people, cartels, China, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, Russia, the largest Russian embassy, I think it is outside of their largest embassy is in Mexico City. It's traditionally been a huge opportunity for mischievous activity, and we've essentially done nothing about it. So yeah, you bet. Everything is bad. This is extremely dangerous. Yeah, this is a real threat.
Okay. I mean, I've been contemplating this since I read this, that, once Trump brought it up, it became a little bit more serious because, there's conspiracy theory and people out there that like to hype up the news, and I try to stick to the facts as much as I can. But once he brought it up, and he also brought up the fact that this would be very bad for the country, it would be very, very bad for the world. I mean, look at what happened when, airplanes fly into buildings in New York, and then next thing we know, we're in this very expensive, very deadly war in the Middle East. Now, if a living president is assassinated by another country, I just can't imagine that would end very well. I don't know. It seems like this is pretty high stakes poker that they're trying to play.
Oh, absolutely. It is. And our corrupt and distracted national security, on one hand, they're almost encouraging this. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, FBI Director Wray, they're going after Trump. And on the next breath, we're going to get those people who are protesting at PTA meetings. It's like, what is going on? Which is the priority? I think it's protecting America, not going after parents showing up at school board meetings.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for confirming that is real and serious. Former Navy SEAL Shawn Ryan went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he told them that his intel from friends still within the military, that the Taliban is funneling terrorists into the United States through the southern border, that there is a plan for an October 7th-like attack on the United States, in addition to China sending people, the gangs coming up through South America. Let me roll this clip. I apologize. There's a couple of F words. I'll maybe try to bleep them out. But anyway, wanted to hear this with you and then get your thoughts on it.
I mean, this could go on for a while, but so now what they're doing is they have the passport office over there, just making legitimate passports to. There's 21 terrorist organizations over there training. Hamza bin Laden, who we were told was killed, is actually alive, and he's marrying into all these other terrorist networks. So he married Mullah Omar's daughter. He married who else? He married into all these different terrorist networks. And so these guys used to be like competitors, kind of, just like the UFO guys. They all hate each other, but they all have the one common theme, like disclosure. These guys, the one common thing is, let's go take over the Western world. So he is basically Hamza bin Laden. Is married into all these terrorist organizations. Now they all have one common goal: to come over to the Western world and ruin our way of life. And so what they're doing is they're funneling as many of these terrorists into the passport office, creating them legitimate, real passports, and then they sprinkle them. They get them flights into all over South and Central America, and then they funnel them up through the Darien Gap into the U.S. And so there is zero. I don't give a f- the FBI or any of these people are saying there is zero way to track how many of these fuckers have come in to the U.S. And so, now. All
right, let's pause it there for a second. So he's saying essentially that over in Afghanistan, they're creating these legitimate passports to funnel 21 different terrorist organizations into the United States. Most of them, when they get here, they throw it into these piles and then come in. Oh, my name is John Smith. I need asylum. Right? How do you believe that the U.S. military and the intelligence agencies they're aware of this? Are they tracking these people, or are they slipping through the cracks?
Definitely slipping through the cracks. There's been an attack. We used to have a very robust counterterrorism culture. That was essentially destroyed by the Obama team in the interest of early CRT, DEI. If you fight terrorism, you create terrorism. Let's be nice to them. And oh, by the way, let's just open up our borders and let them come in to fundamentally transform America. So it is an abject mess. We have no control over our borders. When Biden, Harris say, yeah, but the illegal border crossings have gone down. Well, that's a lie, because now everybody who crosses the border, if they fill out the app, can walk across the border, and they're counted in the numerics as legal. I don't count those people as legal. That is a lie. That is a willful lie against the American people. So we have no idea. I promised to show up in 6 months at a hearing to discuss my request for asylum. And that's how they're playing the game, is because they're treating them as asylum seekers, which means there is potential presidential authority to go, You're all now American citizens. Have at it. So this is a lie. We have no idea what's going on the border. Their statistics are lying, because everybody who crosses at a port of entry and fills out the app is now counted as legal. Yeah, we have no idea who these people are.
Okay. He's going to go on to talk about the reason behind this and also the danger. So let me keep going on this.
What we're going to see is like October 7th style attacks, like we just saw in Israel in the mall in Russia, and everybody's like, oh, this one.
Do you think this is by design?
By design,
like the leaving the border porous, allowing these people to come in?
Absolutely, I think it's by design. I mean, they basically told Border Patrol, stand down. Like, do not do your job. We're going to blast you. I mean, remember the guy on the horse that they said was whipping people, and it wound up being like the reins of the horse? I mean, yeah, I think it's by design, from the government. But I think that I think that the government is more incompetent than it's ever been before, and I think they have one common goal, and that I think the goal is voting. They want them to vote, but I don't think they're competent enough to realize the death and destruction and the other repercussions that we're going to face by keeping that border open.
All right. I believe what he just said is true. I believe they think we will bring these people in to vote, but they have no idea how dangerous this is to the United States. Your thoughts on his comments?
Oh, spot on. I mean, they are coming from cultures that have no sense of what a democratic republic is or means, and they couldn't care less. So this is a very bad idea to let them. We have a right. It's biblical. It's legal. Everybody else controls their borders. For some reason, it's unjust for us to control our borders. We'll just throw them open. And they'll come here. You see them at the Costco. I was just at Costco last night. I mean, it is a Mos Eisley spaceport of everybody in the universe except for Americans. And I'm sure there are good folks in there. I'm sure there's Afghans who helped out the Americans, and I want to definitely take care of that demographic. But there's also a lot of folks we have no idea who they are, and they have come in on a promissory note to show at some time in the next few years. And this is extremely destructive. And yes, they get on via motor voter. We just realized that here in Prince William County, Virginia. But it's nationwide. Motor voter, 1993 law, you go on the voting roll, but no registrar that I can find across the nation in the 3,300 counties is also vetting those names against 18 U.S. Code 611. Must be a U.S. citizen to vote. So absolutely they're using it to game the system and add them to the voting rolls.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is I've never read of another country, not only that is so loose on their border, but is also so generous with their citizens' tax money to make life comfortable while these people wait 4, 5, 6, 10 years for their day in court. There are people in Ohio, I'm seeing, North Carolina, Virginia. They're ringing people up at the grocery store, and then they're showing their food stamp balance, and it's in the tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, these people are being given tens of thousands of dollars a month. They're being given almost $20,000 a month in free hotel stays. I mean, this is such a slap in the face of veterans, such a slap in the face of our senior citizens, those that are truly on disability. Like they're scraping to get help from the government, and yet someone crosses the border. They've been in America for 5 minutes, and they're getting more money than somebody on minimum wage to do what? Nothing? Just exist here and become a future Democrat voter? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's a looting of the treasury, because it is a incredible giveaway. Let me call out nonprofits like Catholic Charities. They make huge profits off of getting the money from HHS to house these illegal aliens. Let's call out, my wife is in Tucson, Arizona right now. the hotels, the franchisees operators, hey, hotel franchise operators, and I'm a Hilton, I'll call out Hilton on this. If you're going to get government money at a higher rate to house these illegals and then panic when they've trashed the hotel and nobody wants to stay there who's actually paying honest money to stay there, I mean, shame on you and all the franchise operators and the hotel chains. Shame on them. I mean, this is what's going on. You can't. My wife couldn't get where she's trying to visit a family and take care of her dad. She can't get a decent hotel room because there's so many illegals that are being paid to stay at the hotel rooms. And I've been out to Tucson and Phoenix numerous times, seeing the same thing. It's insanity, and that's all our money paying for that.
Yeah, it's insulting. I don't know if you know a lot about this. I just read about this while I was doing some research on Iran, but apparently a couple months ago, the Iran, their intelligence agencies, the Islamic Republic, hacked the Donald Trump election campaign computers and information, and then turned that information over to the Harris election campaign. The FBI, the ODNI, and CISA all knew about this, but didn't alert the Trump campaign. They found out like over a month later, and Harris has been using that information to run against Donald Trump. Like, how is this not like cheating worthy of being removed from running for president? Like, this is gross.
Yeah, well, as soon as I heard this story, because I lived and worked in these circles for years, as soon as I heard this story, I said, this was back in July, and I did a posting on Substack and a Gateway Pundit article on it. I said, I guarantee you that if Iran stole the Trump documents, the national intelligence community stole it back from Iran as soon as they saw it on their networks. And that means Jake Sullivan would have been briefed on it, which means, as in 2016 and 2020, that he would have in 2016 that he would have given those documents to the Harris campaign. I said, I guarantee, as soon as they said in July that the Trump campaign documents had been stolen, I said, I guarantee you, we've stolen it back, and it's in the hands of the Harris campaign, and now we have this story. Well, does that mean that the first debate was a total double fraud? Not only was her sorority sister feeding her the questions and the answers, but they also both were sharing the Trump campaign documents? Probably.
Yeah. It's like the level of cheating, manipulation, gaslighting. I just think the American people are so sick of it, and they only know a fraction of what is going on. But like, to me, this is worse than ABC News giving Kamala Harris the questions beforehand, which according to the whistleblower absolutely happened. But now Iran steals documents, the government steals them back and then gives them in order to beat Donald Trump. Like, it's so disgusting to me. What is this that I'm reading about 700 military people coming out and endorsing Kamala Harris, and now it's being brought into question whether some of them were paid to endorse her. What do you know about this letter of endorsement?
It's becoming a swamp ritual. In the swamp, you have the whale dung. You have the bottom of the ocean, the whale dung is sitting on top of. Then underneath it, you have two more layers of muck. Then you have the swamp. This is what goes on in the swamp, is the 741. And I read this, and many of them were like, I barely knew anybody on the list. And then I started going, hold it, they're listing spouses. Well, I love my spouse, and spouses are great, but this was supposed to be 741 national security leaders. What are their dogs also jumping on? I mean, what's going on here? And so this is crazy. And very likely they were paid. And now General McChrystal has come out, and now he says, oh, I had to support her. Well, we have a Timu candidate in Kamala, and we have a Timu general. It's fake. I guarantee you that guarantee you that McChrystal was paid for this. I know him. I know his business. I know how he sets it up. I guarantee you he was paid for this endorsement. So it's all fake.
So do you think, like, let's think of like a pyramid, right? They're like, okay, we'll get General McChrystal and some of the other big known names, and then we'll funnel in a bunch of smaller no-name people. Then we'll add in their spouses. But then at the end of the day, the headline is 741 people endorse Kamala Harris. Is that how they make it look like such a robust, rich, list of endorsements?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fraud. They've juiced the numbers. I don't care if it's 7,041. Now we know everybody we don't want making national security decisions. These people are corrupt. They've been bought off, and I couldn't care less who these people are.
Yeah. Why do you think all of a sudden world leaders are requesting interviews or private meetings with Donald Trump? Like, for example, Zelensky this week, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Shouldn't these people be going to Joe Biden? Or if, at least to make it look like they're not interfering with the election, go to Kamala Harris in the context of being the vice president. But it's just really weird that all of a sudden these world leaders are demanding to meet with Donald Trump.
I think they're trying to at least give the appearance that they are not interfering in the American election because it's so close. Donald J. Trump already being the president. I think that they're deferring. I think they also want to make sure they get it right because they're not totally sure that Kamala will be able to pull off the steal. So, hey, they may have to deal with Donald J. Trump. So they're trying to make both sides happy. So I think that's part of the politic of the situation. With Zelensky, on one hand, he did a clear photo op at the artillery factory up in Northeast Pennsylvania. That was lame. So then he wants to make sure he meets with Donald J. Trump also. And I think it was wise for Trump to meet with them, regardless of what our opinions or views of the Ukraine and Ukraine conflict are. So I think a number of them sense, hey, it's just the right thing to do is to visit with both. Now, I wasn't clear on whether they were meeting with Biden. We now know we've never really had a president since January 21. And it's just been a cabal of folks that have been pretending we've had a presidency since January of 21. Now we have Timu Kamala and all the other Timu operators in the swamp trying to fake their way into they're the ones who created this mess, and they want another 4 years to mix it. I think not to fix it. I think not.
Yeah. Do you think the military and the Pentagon have confidence in Kamala Harris, like legitimate confidence in her as the commander in chief? Or do you think they just sit back and go, we're going to do whatever we want. We don't really care that it's her at the commander in chief?
I think we have a serious professionalism problem in the senior ranks of the military. And that's the generals, it's the admirals, it's the career senior executive civilians. I think we have a serious issue that we're going to have to go through and remove a whole lot of folks from their position because they are running a national security environment that seems to not be beholden to this thing called the Constitution. So we have a lot of people that I think it's reasonable to question their ethics, their behavior. They clearly have been partisan. And then, let's broaden it to the intelligence community and the rest of the bureaucracy in the United States government. They clearly have been partisan in their behavior and their professional actions. So I think we have a huge problem with the Department of Defense in professionalism. It would be nice to go back to the days where people were agnostic about these topics. Everybody takes an oath of office, uniformed and civilian. And how about we just not talk politics in the office? I can tell you from my time, and some people would say, "Oh, John, he's such a conservative." I go, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah, because I don't like an absolute trained animal, jump, clap like crazy over all this DEI CRT nonsense. This is the partisanship inside. We have to go back to a professional civil service corps and uniform military. That's not what we have right now.
Okay. Oh man, lots going on. I believe the country is going to survive. I do worry though a lot if Kamala Harris gets in. I worry about freedom of speech. I worry about Second Amendment gun rights. I worry about how she and Biden basically infiltrated the social media sites in order to push their agenda, control the narrative around COVID, to cover up the fact that we have a sitting president with dementia. I mean, he went on The View just this week and admitted Kamala Harris is the one that's actually been running the country. It's not been me. I deferred to her in every way, from domestic policy to foreign policy. She's the one that's been running the country. I mean, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked to hear him say that.
Yeah. Well, I will accept him at his word, and therefore we have had a coup. There is a process to remove a president. It's called the 25th Amendment. I don't want any of the Democrats ever again to ever utter 25th Amendment, which they have done regularly since the Reagan days. This is a lie. We've had a coup and an unlawful transfer of power. And hey, I'll just take Biden at his word. I mean, he said it himself, his admission of guilt. We've had a coup. It is unlawful and an unlawful transfer of power. The American people have been tricked.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on. If people want to follow you online, where can I recommend that they go?
Oh, thank you, Stephen. So on X, it's Colonel RET John 2, the number 2, Colonel Ret John 2 on X, Colonel Ret John Substack Getter and Truth.
Okay. I will put those direct links so that people can find you easily. Thank you again for coming on. I think this was our second interview. The first one did very well. I appreciate you staying in the loop on all of these big stories, helping us filter them through a military mind. Thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Steve. And an honor to be on your show again. Thank you.